Ryan, how are you?
It's good to talk to you this morning.
Thank you. Good to talk to you.
Are you in Dublin?
I'm out in Ratoath, County Meath.
Oh, in Meath. Okay, great stuff.
Just outside the Pale.
And we were talking, indeed, just beyond the Pale.
Yeah.
And we were talking yesterday about photographs, obviously with the news that Kodak is in the spot of bother. We were chatting about the value of photographs and some lovely stories coming in from people, quite emotional ones too. But it sparked something for you.
Yeah, well, I was just driving back to the surgery here, and I have a photograph of my dog, my Labrador Max, who I'm a vet, so I had to put him to sleep 17 years ago, and I just still have his photograph in my wallet.
Do you?
He went everywhere with me, and I was in my late teens when I got him, and he went everywhere, and he was a great dog, and I just keep it with me, you know.
How old were you when you got Max?
I was 18.
18. And what was the occasion, or why did you get him?
Just a birthday present from very good friends, two particularly very good friends. And I was at that age, I suppose. He just came everywhere. I obviously wasn't married or family or anything like that,
yeah.
you know. And
what sort of a dog was he?
He was a Labrador. He was a great dog. He was powerful, really well built lab, and he just did everything. He did everything for me, really, and didn't do anything much for anyone else. You know?
In what way?
Well, he would if I just put the food down, and he wouldn't touch it until I wasn't a disciplinarian or anything. I just put it down, and I didn't want children to be because he was great with kids. So if they could take the food out of his mouth, that was great. You know, I didn't want him to be snapping on that. So I put the food down. He just wouldn't touch it until, no matter who said anything, he wouldn't touch it until I said, yeah, work away. And we go running and like swimming. I mean, I'm about 15 stone, and he would pull me through the sea. We'd be swimming out in Sandy Cove and that, and I'd hold onto his collar, and he just pulled me through the water like a surfboard or something. You know, he was just running and up and down the East Pier in Dunleary and that. You know, he was great. He was just great. He'd come out, and if I was going out, invariably he'd be in the back of the car, and you know, sometimes I'd maybe meeting people, you know, girls or that, and they'd wonder what the smell was, you know. But it was him. Maybe he wasn't just there at that moment, but they'd be thinking, Jesus, what's the smell here? But it was just Max, and he was just he was a great dog, you know.
It's always funny because some dogs, I mean, we had a red setter for years in our family. We never had a dog since, actually, but we had one for years. And he became the fifth Beatle. You know, he was the other brother. Yeah,
I know.
Do you know what I mean by that? And because he had buckets of personality.
Yeah.
Did Max have that?
Oh, absolutely. You know, he really did. I mean, he used to love playing with there was a child next door, and he used to love playing with him. And one day the mother came out, I hope she's not listening, and she let a roar out at the child, and Max got up on the wall and he started barking at her, you know.
Giving out to the mother?
Giving out to the mother, you know.
Oh, that's so funny.
He was, but even when I met my wife, he used to come in between us if we were just standing together. He would never be bark at her or that, but when he was with her on her own, he was great, but if I was there, he wanted to be in between me, you know.
So it's like you were introducing another person into your relationship.
It was, you know. It was meet my dog, you know. But
when did he get sick, or what happened to him?
He was 14 and a half, and he was just crippled with arthritis. You know, he loved to swim, and I knew, like, in his sort of when he was 7 or 8 and that, I knew he had the start of arthritis in one of his legs, but he just loved the water. He used to wet himself thinking about the water, going down to the sea point and all that, and so we just kept at it, and you know, maybe that didn't help his arthritis much, but he 14 anyway, he just came to a stage, and I just had to make the decision, and I wanted to be there with him at the end. You know, I didn't want to pass him over. When I was in a position, I don't expect everybody to be like that, but when I was in a position to do it, and so there we were right at the end, and it was it was tough, but it was the best thing for him, and he didn't feel anything of that, so it was...
What age were you when that happened?
Which?
What age were you when...
I was 34 or 32.
And you're a vet, so did you do the job yourself?
I did it. Yeah.
Was that difficult?
You know, Ryan, in a funny way, it was. I wanted to do it myself. I wanted to be there with him, and I was looking after him, and he was looking at me, and I was looking at him, you know, and I had a nurse who was holding him for me, and you know, it didn't take much holding, and as in just beside him, and I just did it and was there right to the end, and you know, he just went everywhere with me. So when he was making his final journey, so to speak, I was going to be with him, you know, which is crazy, I suppose. But I've met a few people. I had one person came in to me, well, it's a good few years ago, and I remember he wanted to actually do the same. He wanted me to place the needle and the cannula and the catheter, and he just wanted to push it. He wanted the syringe as such, you know. I did everything, but he just wanted to be right there doing it. And a lot of people are happy to be there at the end, and it's just I was in a position to do it, you know, by profession, I suppose, you know. And
did you cry?
I know I'm on radio and all that, but I was very upset. I mean, I went off for a walk for 2.5 hours, something like that. I didn't take his lead out of the car for 2 years.
Really?
Yeah, but he was a terrific. He's a fabulous looking dog and powerful dog, and he just, he just went everywhere with me, and. Even if I was going up to Ashton's or something for a pint, he'd be in the car, you know. He was, and he would follow me, going out for a walk. He'd just come with me on the, without a lead. I know that's whatever it is, 20 years ago, but he'd have to be on a lead now. But he was just, he would if I was at college, so during the summer I'd be in the States working, and he would. He'd be obviously at home with my folks, and my mother would say to him, "Where's Paul?" And he'd go out to the back garden. He'd look up at the room where he'd always see me studying, you know. So he was.
That's funny, isn't it? And why do you have a picture of him in your wallet?
Because he was. I've had a lot. I've had. I don't know how many dogs. I've had a lot of dogs, and because he was just. He was a great dog. He was a great friend. He was. And he just went everywhere with me, and I just, I loved him, and and even talking about him now, I haven't talked as much about him in a while, you know.
Yeah.
But he was just a super dog, and it's like having a. I suppose I have him because it's a memory, and it just brought it back to me when you were talking about having, I mean, I've got loads of photographs in my phone and in my computer and that, but I never look at them. But here, it's every time I open my wallet as such, it's just a keepsake, I suppose, a memory, and it's a super photograph, and it's a photograph. He had a big kennel in the back garden, and he slept out at night, and he'd be in the house in the evenings and that, and be out during the day and all that. But he would be sitting up on the top of the kennel. The kennel would be about 3.5 foot high, and he'd be looking into the kitchen, or he'd be looking out the garden, and it was just his place, so to speak, you know.
There's a lovely bit of footage from a chat show called The Tonight Show in the States. Johnny Carson used to present it, and on it he had the great actor James Stewart was a guest.
Oh yeah,
did you ever see that?
Super piece.
And James, he's talking about his dog Bo.
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, if you want to see it, and he breaks down because everyone's going, what? They thought it was a cute poem, but then it just gets more and more emotional, because sometimes a man and his dog have a special friendship bond, whatever you want to call it, like you had with Max. It's a strange thing. A perfectly rational human being, but just had this thing with the dog that you loved the company for whatever reason.
Yeah, they're with you, and dogs give everything. No matter what you do, they just give everything back. You know, they ask for nothing. They just want to be fed and exercised and your company, and they just love to be with you. And
did you replace them?
We did get dogs subsequently, but it's strange. I've got a black Labrador now. Now I've had about 8 dogs since, and he was a yellow male Labrador, and he was built like a brick house. I mean, he was as powerful, and whereas Mal she's a year old now, and she's a black female, and she's completely different now. Obviously I'm completely different too, so I don't bring her running and swimming and all that, so she's kind of settled to me at the moment, and I got her at 8 weeks, so she came into the clinic at 8 weeks, and she's actually here with me now in the surgery, in the waiting room, and she's just getting used to meeting everybody and everything. I mean, there's lizards and snakes and dogs and cats, and I look after Tato Park, the zoo down there, so some animals from there, and she's met them all, so she's so relaxed, where Max was always wanted to, when he saw me, he said, where are we going? We going climbing a mountain, or going swimming, or whatever, you know, but he was...
You have a social secretary now for a dog. Listen, Paul, it's been lovely talking to you.
And thanks very much.
And thanks for going down memory lane with us, because I know it's kind of probably an odd one for you, but you hit the nail on the head with the story of the man, the dog, and the photo in the wallet. Yeah,
and just one other thing, my mother reminded me last night that I worked for Kodak, actually, which is odd, way back in when I was in 5th year in school. I had a summer job, and Kodak in Dunleary, they had a subsidiary.
What were you doing?
You know, we were just loading machines with all those films that you were talking about.
Yeah, the old buy one get one free films. Yeah.
That type of thing. You know, breaking the cartridges and loading the films onto in the dark room, and
that's gas.
Yeah, so now everything's on your phone.
Yeah, for sure. Well, look, enjoy yourself this weekend, and thanks for sharing your story with us this morning, Paul.
And thank you very much, Ryan.
Pleasure talking to you.
Take care. Bye bye.
Text number is 51552. One man and his dog. I tell you, people get so emotionally involved and attached to their pets. I know, and I enjoyed talking to Paul about Max. Now, some text coming in. Vicky's been on to say, "Good morning, Ryan."